Hey everybody on YouTube. Today I thought I'd take out another moment to fix another broadcast video deck. Well, here you're looking at a Sony Betamax Slo-325. This is a professional unit. Actually, this is one of the better units because of the fact it's got a better loading mechanisms design compared to the front loaders that came out later on. Alright, as you can see, this thing has a lot of kind of cool features to it. It's got VU meters on the front. And it actually plays Beta 1, and most of the Betamax VCRs of the day, the front loaders, would only play back Beta 2 and 3. This records in Beta 1, 2, and 3, records in all three speeds. This is really an excellent model, and plus it's heavier duty. It was used in some of the local cable access studios. It's sort of a broadcast video deck, so this is really a nice unit. Today I'm going to tell you about the problems of repairing it and what you need to do. As you can see, I got the cover off. And as you can see over here, I got the loading carriage out. See how I got it in my hands right now? Alright, that's the loading carriage. You got to get this out first, which there's 4 screws, 2 here and 2 here, and the loading carriage will come straight out. To start off with, take the cover off, get the loading carriage off, and then I can show you the rest. So let's take a look at the inside of this unit. Okay, alright, here's the inside of the Betamax machine. Now, like I said, this is more of a professional end. This is a top loader, but what many people don't know is a lot of the top loader Betamax machines played a lot better than the front loading Betamax machines because they could handle the tolerances of Betamax tapes that would go sticky after years of sitting in storage. Sticky tapes would have a real problem playing in those front loaders because the mechanisms, the design of the mechanism on the front loaders weren't that great. As you can see, this unit has more of a heavy-duty loading ring, and it's more heavy-duty to drag those problem tapes through the machine. So, if you're looking for a good Betamax machine that plays Beta 1, 2, and 3, I recommend this machine highly. It's a Betamax Slo-325. This is a very good unit. But the problem is, like all the Betamax machines during the day, they have to be fixed. This one's suffering from loading problems, sticking problems, and everything else. So what you want to do is you take out the loading carriage like I showed you, and if you look, you'll see this has a loading ring like most of the professional decks, which I prefer professional decks. I don't use anything that's consumer because I do a lot of video recovery and I want to use the best decks possible. And as you can see, it's got a Capistan roller. These Capistan rollers must be changed because they always go bad. So this is the first thing you want to do. Lift this straight off, put a brand new Capistan roller on here, and you're ready to go. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure the Capistan motor that drags the tape, this little pin behind this little aluminum cover needs to be cleaned as well, but I'll show you on the very bottom of the machine. Also, you want to make sure that you take these spindles out and you clean them and you re-oil them. And you have a belt here, and you have another tire here, and you have a tire here. These are all part of the fast forward and playback mechanism. You need to change these tires and that little belt and put brand new ones on. This is what you call the clutch feature of the machine. It's what actually activates the machine in your fast forward, rewind, and play. And then you want to inspect the inner parts to make sure none of the felt pads, there's a drag belt below here. You want to make sure the felt is in place and it's not pulling away from the actual band. You might want to glue that in place to make sure it stays put. You want to inspect everything, but basically you want to take these spindles off and re-grease them. Change the clutch wheels, clutch tires, and belts. Make sure all this is new. Do not just clean them. You need to change them out. They do go bad, they crack, and they start getting very funky, and the machine won't rewind and play back. So you want to make sure that that's all changed out. Make sure these spindles are greased. Make sure everything behind here is clean really good. Clean the video head. Make sure the lower and upper drum is cleaned real well. Okay? Then you want to look over here, which is another problem on this particular machine, is the loading belts. This takes 2 loading belts, one here and it takes one there. That's what actually loads the actual spindle for this little ring to load the tape. These 2 motors engage, and then the ring will spin and load the tape. Those belts have to be changed. Use nothing but new belts and new rubber rollers and clutch tires. Don't use anything used, because you will have issues with these earlier machines. And it needs good rubber, like rubber on a car, on your tires on your car. You got to have good tires, right? Well, it's the same principle here. Good tires will make this machine work really, really good. Good belts will make this machine work really good. So make sure you change all the rubber out. It needs to be changed. So let's take a look at the bottom of the machine. Okay, well, here's the bottom of this Betamax machine. Now, you'll notice that you have a belt here. This belt runs from the actual video head motor to your Capistan clutch tire, which runs your fast forward, rewind, and play. It's actually one belt that connects both of these particular functions. You need to replace this with a brand new belt. Make sure you do it. These belts are very important. You put a brand new belt on. If you don't, they're cracked. They'll start slipping, and the machine will have a real big issue trying to play. And these belts are very important, so you need to replace it with brand new belts. Also, the Capistan motor, here you go. This is the Capistan motor where you have a rubber roller that hits against this motor and it drags the tape through the machine. Now, a lot of people are like, how do you clean this? Well, I'm going to show you a real simple way of cleaning these Capistan motors for these Sony machines. You grab the spindle like this and you lift straight out. As you can see, comes right out of there. This is an actual motor, but this is your actual pin that drags your videotape through the machine. Take a good cleaning rough cloth to this and get all the gooiness and video head tape and all that off of this spindle. Make sure this is very, very clean. Alright, the cleaner the better. And then once it's really clean, you do not have to oil this. Just put it right back in the hole like so. And there you go. It's now back in place. So now you got your Capistan motor clean. So again, clean your Capistan motor just like I showed you and change the belt. Make sure this has a new belt. On this particular model, it has the one belt that drives both of the systems. So make sure to change that out. So that's pretty much all you need to do on the bottom. But you need a belt and you need to clean this Capistan motor. Okay, now we're back at the top of the machine. As you can see, if you do the bottom like I showed you, change the rubber tires out, change the clutch tires, change the belts and the other rubber tires on here, unscrew these, pull these straight out and re-grease these pins, change these belts, alright, and make sure everything's really clean. This machine will work like it was brand new when it was made. So anyways, let me just show you some parts so give you a little idea what you need to do this. Okay, if you're going to fix VCRs, you need to have parts, people. As you can see, I've got literally thousands of parts for these VCRs. I have bags and bags of belts for these machines. As you can see, I've got big belts and big belts, more big belts, bigger belts, some of the smaller belts for the motors, some round belts for the motors, some smaller belts for the motors. I mean, all these are just belts, belts, belts. And here's the clutch tires. I have tons and tons of parts for clutch tires. You got to have a lot of clutch tires if you're fixing VCRs. Because most of these earlier machines take rubber tires. You got to find a source online and purchase a lot of this stuff, because there's no doubt about it, you're going to need quite a few of it to actually fix these things. So look for all the parts online, rubber tires, belts, and you need rubber rollers, the Capistan rollers. You need to find a source for those, because those are very important to change out. And the biggest problem with VCRs from this period is they used a lot of rubber parts, and that is your #1 problem for why VCRs no longer work. So if you want to restore these machines for video transfers, follow my advice, order some parts, make sure everything's clean, change all the rubber out on them, and adjust everything, and you should have a pretty good machine when you're done. So if you have any questions, please contact me. I'd be glad to answer anything you might want to ask. Alright, take care.